Have you ever found yourself holding back, heart pounding, unsure of how to act around women? Well, if this sounds like you are not alone. Many men experience an unspoken fear when it comes to women. But where does this fear come from? Is it really about rejection? Well, men tell me they're not afraid of rejection, they're just tired of it. Is that the truth, or is there something deeper? Today, we're going to break down the psychology, the social dynamics, and the root causes behind men's hesitation around women. I will also tell you about a young man I met while in Europe who has approached over 300 women, plus the worst thing that happened to him doing that. I spoke to him when I was making this video or for the notes for the video. So by the end of it, I think you will understand the truth about men's hesitation with women and the quickest way to overcome any fears or worries about approaching women. It took my new friend about 2 years, but I'll share how you can do it in about 8 weeks. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anna Jorgensen. I help good men like you find, attract, and keep your keeper. Welcome to Just the Tip. Okay, are men genuinely afraid of women, or are they really more wary of potential mental, emotional, or financial risks women can bring? Let's take a closer look. 1, fear of rejection. So rejection is the monster no man wants to face, even though it's a part of life. Someone wrote in my comments that men aren't afraid of rejection, they're just tired of it. Well, based on reading tens of thousands of your comments, I think actually both are true. Many men fear women's rejection, not only because they're tired of rejection, but some men are genuinely afraid they'll be turned down in a humiliating way. Whether it's asking her out or showing interest, there is no certainty the woman you choose to approach will be gracious, and that's just a fact. The truth, rejection doesn't define you. How you handle it does. Key point, how you handle setbacks and disappointments in general in life shapes you in the eyes of the one person who truly matters, you. For example, you see a woman at a bar who, to your surprise, makes eye contact and maybe acknowledges you with a smile or a nod, but you overthink it. You maybe look behind you wondering who else she might be looking at. And instead of smiling back or saying hi or nodding toward her, you hesitate. You miss your chance. So next time, just say hello. You might connect. And even if you don't, you will leave without what ifs. Hint, remind yourself that just because you find her physically attractive doesn't mean she automatically qualifies for you based on her character. My new young friend, who's approached over 300 women, still gets nervous sometimes because he knows most of the time he is going to get rejected. But he's challenged himself to overcome his fear and frustration of rejection and trust that he can handle whatever happens. Now, I told him how even I had been approached just the day before when I was out and about by a guy practicing cold approaches. And although I can appreciate how challenging doing that is for men, I had just come from a 3-hour gab session with a friend, because women chat, and I was socially exhausted. I didn't feel like talking to anyone. Just the tip. Just like back in the day when I was a land pimp, cold calling real estate prospects out of a phone book, some of you don't even know what that is, a lot of people are just not in the mood or not in the market for what you're selling, whether it's a house or your charming personality. So what? Next, hint, don't take it personally. I had amazing mentors who taught me that if you let the inevitable no's influence you, you will never get to the yeses. And they were right. In fact, finding the right mentor is key, which is why it took me so long to find the right one-on-one coach for you. Someone who's been there, done that, from mastering attraction and approach to building a solid, lasting relationship. The gentleman I'm talking about started in the pickup world like 15 years ago, but is now happily married with a family. So whether you want casual dates with no commitment on your terms, or you want to find the one that's right for you, he can tell you exactly how to get there. So I'll share a link for that at the end of the video, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, some of you might be saying, Anna, what if she Me Too's me? Well, you know what? That's a valid point. However, instead of relying on rage-baiting videos selling you on the idea that this happens every time a man smiles at a woman, or a story of a friend of a friend of a friend, I invite you to inquire about your local area. Has it actually ever happened there from a man simply smiling at a woman? The truth. That scenario is so rare, you're more likely to get hit by lightning or win the lottery than get Me Too'd simply by speaking with a woman. However, if she's shown obvious signs she's not interested, that is when you may get a nasty rejection. Hint, don't approach those ones. Question for the fellas. Assuming you want a girlfriend or simply a Netflix and chills action, how many women have you approached this week? This month? This year? Have you even said hello to any? Have you even attempted a smile? Exactly. Most of you have very little first-hand experience to base your fear or frustration on. Question number 2. Do you think my new friend got yeses the first several times he displayed interest in women? No, he didn't. It takes a lot of practice. Now, I have a brilliant solution for you coming up, so stay tuned. 2. Fear of misunderstanding social expectations. What do I mean by this? Well, on social media, where many, especially young people, take their cues about life, women often pressure men to be confident and smooth and perfect, which can feel overwhelming. Let's fix my hair. And it can be disheartening. And you may think, I'm not a Chad or Tyrone. I don't make bank. I'm not 6 feet tall. What if I'm not enough? The truth. Women need connection, not perfection. Instead of stressing over impressing her, focus on being your better self. For example, skip big gestures and clever pickup lines. Don't use that stuff on a date. Have a genuine conversation and let it flow naturally. The better you part is the basics. Clean thyself, groom thyself, dress thyself in clean, well-fitting clothes. I know these jeans are too big for me. I'll get some new ones. But if you've let yourself slide, watch my grooming essentials video after this one, and you can find it there or in a comment. My new friend isn't your typical Chad. He's not an athlete. He's average height, 5'9" or 175 centimeters. He's beginning his career, but he's well groomed. He has life goals. He has some skills and he has standards, and he gets dates with women he's attracted to. He told me he stopped worrying about social expectations when he stopped watching fear-based sensationalized media aimed at making men afraid of women and instead focused on personal development, something within his control. 3, fear of vulnerability and emotional intimacy. Many men fear opening up because they've been taught to hide their emotions for their whole lives. The idea that emotions are weak, feminine traits has been instilled from the very beginning. However, there are 2 categories of vulnerability. So one is based in fear, which is weak, and the other is based in love, which is strong. Now, you can learn more about this topic in my video on vulnerability. But just the tip, weak vulnerability rockets a woman into mother mode. And as I've said many times, mother mode suppresses lover mode. However, the truth, true emotional connection thrives on strong vulnerability. I'm not kidding. Yes, it is confusing, and it's no wonder that men are bewildered, befuddled, or just burnt out. But before you jump ship on relationships, let's explore some logic. And remember, you weren't taught this stuff in school, so learning anything new, and especially something completely foreign, takes your brain some time to build these new information pathways. You got to be patient with yourself and give yourself grace for not getting it all at once. All right, let's talk about weak vulnerability. For example, you are feeling insecure or worried about losing your job. Now, even though she says she wants to know about your stresses and what's worrying you, sharing woes with your woman will automatically put her in mother mode, unless you bring in some strong vulnerability. Example, momentarily. So reminder, women don't know what they want, but women instinctively do know what they don't want. She thinks she wants to know what's stressing you out, but what she really needs is to be reassured you're actively handling the situation so both of you won't end up living under a bridge. Women's primary need is what? To feel safe physically, emotionally, and financially in every way. So strong vulnerability. For example, instead of saying, I'm so stressed about losing my job, I don't know what to do, try, Work has been intense lately, and you know what? There's some uncertainty about my position. I've been putting a plan together in case things change, and I'd like your perspective on something. How would you feel about us adjusting the budget or making some tweaks if necessary? So this approach shows strength because you, one, have acknowledged the situation without letting fear control you, and two, are demonstrating that you're proactive and capable of handling challenges. And three, are inviting her into the conversation as a trusted teammate, which builds connection without triggering her mother mode. So the key to strong vulnerability is sharing your thoughts and feelings in a way that shows capability and a plan of action. It lets her get close to you without feeling like she needs to mother you. So save a week of vulnerability for your emotionally intelligent man friends or your therapist. Just the tip. I know this is controversial, but it's effective. Ask yourself this. Am I expressing my fear in a way a child would to his mother or a man would to his child? My new young friend said the best way to get over the fear of vulnerability is to be a man. And I told him I would get razzed if I said those words. But if you tend to feel scared or weak or incapable, you're going to want to watch my video, 15 masculine activities to boost confidence and testosterone, actually, and then choose one and tackle it. 4, fear of not meeting expectations. The idea of being the one can feel overwhelming, but here's the truth. Perfection is a myth. Most women know this, even if they say or think they want perfection. But what do we know about women? Exactly the truth. Most women don't know what they want, and they know even less about what they truly need. Sorry, I find flaws funny. In people, in general, laughter is my cope. So just the tip, trying to use logic or reason to prove you're the right guy for her doesn't work. In fact, it often backfires. Why? Because women tend to make relationship decisions based on feelings more than logic. If you try to convince her with facts, she may start feeling like you don't get her. And although she may not be able to explain why, her gut will tell her, nah, nah, nah. And then she'll assume you're not the right guy. Not because you aren't, but because of the way you're trying to win her over. It doesn't match how she processes relationships. So if you pitch yourself like a used car salesman, highlighting your features and benefits, she will feel like you're trying to sell her something. And when someone tries to sell something to you too hard, what's your first thought? Right. What's the catch? She will wonder where the fine print is and what the warranty is on you. The better approach, instead of trying to meet every expectation or prove your worth, focus on being authentic while also showing you're willing to grow. Let her take you for a test drive, not that kind, but by letting her get to know the real better you. For example, if you think she expects you to have all of life figured out, remind yourself that being real matters more than pretending to have all the right answers. What's more impressive is trusting your own abilities, like, you know what, I don't know how yet, but I know I'll figure it out. I always have. Authenticity paired with confidence in your capability is far more attractive than impossible perfection to the right woman for you. The young man who I met, who's approached over 300 women, stopped worrying about women's expectations when he realized it was more important to focus on his own standards and expectations, which is also more attractive. 5, fear of being not interesting enough. On the other hand, maybe your worry is that you're not going to be exciting enough to impress a woman. Well, here's the deal. Not all women are drawn to action-packed lives. I'm certainly not, but they are drawn to passion, stimulation, and connection. I certainly am. The truth, you don't need to be Ethan Hawke to be interesting. You don't have to climb mountains or travel the world or have every moment of your downtime be a high-octane adventure to catch her attention if that's not who you truly are or want to be. What matters most is showing enthusiasm and purpose in your own life, whether it's your career or your hobbies or your personal growth. For example, If you love building railway villages, nerd out about it. Show her why it excites you. Passion is contagious. When you're genuinely curious about something, whether her interest or your own, it makes you magnetic. Or, for example, if you overhear a woman talking about her recent trip to France, don't avoid the conversation because you've never even traveled. Don't think she'll think I'm boring. Instead of that stinking thinking, be passionate about her travel interests. What did you love most about France? Le croissant. Just the tip. It's more attractive to be interested than to be interesting. Hint, if your life feels dull to you, that's your sign to take things to the next level. Try a class or a new sport or volunteer. Bonus, you will boost your own confidence, you will expand your social circle, and maybe even meet a lady who shares your interest. 6, fear of or disinterest in complicating your life. Now, relationships can feel daunting because they do involve effort, compromise, and the messiness of emotions between two people who may have vastly different experiences in life and views on life. Now, many men shy away thinking it's just not worth the headache. However, if you are longing for a long-term cuddle buddy, the alternative, staying single, also isn't great. Key point, either you commit to a short-term uncomfortable learning curve, or by default, you commit to a potential lifetime of discomfort in loneliness. You might want to listen to that part again. Initial discomfort or persistent low-grade discomfort, you get to choose. Now, whether it's about approaching women or navigating a relationship with one, the truth is, all relationships require effort, but the right one is worth it. Now, challenges are going to be inevitable, but they're also what strengthen a true bond. Instead of running from complications, face them with curiosity and a problem-solving mindset. Be curious about her potential underlying motivations and insecurities, as well as your own. We all have insecurities. Hint, whenever we overreact about something someone else does or says, it usually has more to do with us than the other person. Ooh, just the tip. Embrace imperfection, give yourself and give her some grace. A relationship will shake up your life, but the right one will be worth it. Now, just before I reveal number 7 and the fastest way to get over approach anxiety and fear of women and relationships, if you have found value in this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing and sharing it. Thank you if you already have. And by the way, sharing it really helps my channel. 7, fear of or aversion to losing independence. Ah, yes, this one is huge. It's natural to worry that a relationship might strip away your freedom, especially if you've been single for a while. Many men fear or think that commitment means sacrificing their hobbies, their friendships, or their alone time. The truth, the right woman will not steal your independence. A good relationship isn't about losing freedom. It's about creating balance. You can enjoy your hobbies. You can enjoy your downtime and your personal goals, while at the same time building something meaningful with a woman who supports you as long as you have your own meaningful hobbies and personal goals. Just the tip. Be upfront about needing personal time and space. It's a great test. A keeper will respect that and even appreciate it. Independence isn't a liability. It's attractive when balanced and paired with emotional availability. Example. Let's say you had a messy breakup years ago and now you are totally avoiding relationships because you are convinced they are all doomed to drama. Does that sound like a few of you out there? Hint, the right woman won't make your life more difficult. She will make it better. Approach women and relationships with curiosity and patience. And remember, it's not about avoiding challenges, but facing them together. The young man I met said he's not worried about a woman complicating his life or taking away his independence because he is clear on who he is and what he wants, both in life and in a relationship. When you are solid in your own identity, no woman can shake your foundation. The ones who try and fail find themselves left behind. In fact, in over 300 approaches, the worst thing that happened to him was a snooty girl laughed at him in front of her friends. It was embarrassing, but it showed him who she was, a throwback who certainly did not deserve him. Ah, So, are men truly scared of women? No. However, men do have legit concerns that often come down to what they think they'll lose by engaging with a woman or investing in a relationship with one. The truth. Fear is a part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. Facing our fears, whether it's rejection or vulnerability or the pressure to perform, is the key to growth, even if you choose to stay single. But if you don't want to be single forever, what's the worst that could happen? A little rejection? A bad date? You'll live, and each experience can bring you closer to the one who is really right for you with the right attitude, or at least give you some funny stories to tell later when you're over it. So lean into uncomfortable situations, embrace your quirks, and don't let fear tap you out. And remember, I have an elite team, of coaches ready to work one-on-one to help you overcome your blind spots, to build real confidence, and to start seeing results in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. However, coaching spots are limited. So scan the QR code and book your free discovery call. Let's get you the dating life you truly want. Remember, life begins outside your comfort zone, but we can help make it easier. So knowledge is potential power, but it does nothing if you do nothing with it. So your mission, should you wish to accept it, is to figure out which of these fears is most likely keeping you in your comfort zone and choose a new truth that you will start embracing today. Let me know in the comments. Remember, rejection is God's protection and redirection. I believe in you. You are worthy. I'm so proud of you, especially for sticking with me to the end on this long video. God bless.